Hey everybody, Austin back again with another Let's Play video. Today it's going to be Raiden, or Raiden as it's properly pronounced, on the Atari Jaguar. Now I haven't done too many Jag videos recently, I just did Atari carts, a casual look at, but aside from that I haven't really done too much Jaguar wise. Now that I'm done with all those Mega Man videos, and I'm going to be taking a break from Mega Man for a while, even though I really want to play Mega Man X right now, I'm going to take a break from Mega Man. I'm going to bust out some Jag stuff here and there. I don't know how frequently it's going to be, but I kind of feel like playing some Raiden right now. What do we got? High scores JLF 18107. That's not very high. Yeah, I actually just received this cart last week, so this is actually the first time I've loaded it up. I'm happy to say that it works on the first try. One of the issues with the Jaguar and Jaguar carts is a lot of times you'll get new carts, you'll plug them in, not new, but you know, different carts. This is a used game, it's worn and torn, it's been played, but you'll pop them in and you'll get the infamous red screen of death, and you'll have to just keep popping the cart in and out, hoping it works. And for instance, I have a copy of Zul 2. I actually just found out in the wild at a used bookstore of all places. And man, that sucker barely works. Even when it does work, the second you press something, it freezes. I've only gotten it to work reliably once. So, but fortunately, Raiden worked with no issues. So we're gonna go ahead and play some. And it looks like the guy that had it before me only got to the second loop, which isn't, well, it's decently far. It means he beat the game. And basically what happens is you beat the game and it starts you off and it's harder. The bullets come down faster, and the bullets are also spread farther apart. The farthest I've gotten, I want to say, is the end of the third loop. Either that or I might have even gotten to the fourth loop. It gets really tough by the third, the third loop. So we're probably not going to make it that far. This is the first time I've played this version of Raiden in since ever I did my last long play in the game, which was a couple of years ago now. So it's been a while since I played this specific version of the game. Now the reason I mention that is in a lot of versions of Raiden I can just pick them up and play like it's second nature. But in this specific version, it feels a little bit different, actually a lot different than, say, arcade Raiden or PC Engine Raiden or the Sega Genesis or Mega Drive Raiden. And part of that is the movement. Movement feels a little bit slower. It's the movement is laggy, and it's a little tough to adjust to. But I have played this game a lot over the years, so I should be able to adapt without too much of a problem. But what I do actually want to say is that I don't even know what I want to say. I was going to say something and I totally forgot. Too busy focusing on all the stuff around me as usual when I play these shmups. So I have really one form of strategy when I play Jag Raiden. For one, it is to always use the red power-up. Now the blue power-up is very powerful, but it doesn't cover the huge screen space that the red power-up does. And you know, now you might be saying, well, also in the arcade version, you know, the red power-up is really weak, and it's not that useful for taking down, you know, certain bosses quickly and whatnot. Well, in the Jaguar Raiden, the firing rate of your red shot is actually a lot slower than it was in the arcade game. But as a result, what they did is they made the shot a lot more powerful. So not only do you cover a lot of screen space, it deals a ton of damage in this version. And so what you're going to see me do is get the red powered up. And this is the boss. You kind of want to stay back because he does his little string of bullets there. Now, if you're familiar with, say, Raiden, the arcade version, you'll notice that, oh, geez, that was tough. Normally, that doesn't happen when I play this game. You'll notice that these bullets are really slow, and that's definitely one of the issues with this game. But when you go to your successive loops, so your second loop, the bullets are not just faster, but they're also spaced farther apart. So by the second loop, the enemy's bullets actually mimic the arcade patterns a little bit more realistically. You know, the bullets are spaced farther apart, they're easier to dodge, yes, but they also come down faster. So, and why they chose the bullet speed of the first loop as your first loop, I don't know why. I think they really should have started with the second loop. And if they really wanted to slow the bullets down, maybe they should have just given an options menu that says easy, normal, or hard mode, or something like that. I don't know if they were rushed or just, you know, there wasn't that much attention to detail, which could very well be possible. Supposedly these guys had to build this game from the ground up and, you know, do everything by hand. It's not like they had the assets to work with from the arcade games. So at least that's what I've read recently. So alright, I gotta focus, try to get some power-ups, because that was pretty bad, dying at the first boss. You do not want to die at the first boss, I mean, because then you come to this level, and things are a little bit trickier when you don't have reliable firepower. See, now I got a spread shot, now I'm doing a little bit better. You want at least the spread shot, otherwise your life will be made total hell pretty quickly. So, get that spread shot and make good use of it. Now, like I said, the spread shot is a lot more powerful here than it was in the arcade game, which makes it the ideal shot. My preferred combination, though, along with the spread shot, is the homing missiles, because the homing missiles have also been made more powerful compared to what they were in the arcade game. So, you know, the homing missiles will help take down enemies to the sides that maybe you don't see or something like that, and they actually do worthwhile damage now. Whereas in the arcade game, they were kind of weak as well. But you had to balance them out in the arcade version. You know, you had the straight-ahead missiles that you got in the arcade one. Those were the powerful shot, but they didn't take up half the screen. You know, they didn't cover half the screen. Like the homing missiles, they start to spread out and they turn into a four-way homing shot and are just very, very, very useful. And to sort of balance out that usefulness, you don't want something that's too useful in games like this, otherwise they're kind of broken. And that's kind of how something like the red shot and the homing missiles are in the Jag version of Raiden, but I don't really mind so much. I kind of like that difference because I have a ton of other versions of Raiden to play if I really wanted that 100% arcade accuracy. So, and it's definitely one of the reasons why I like this version a lot. It's definitely not arcade perfect. It's taken some liberties, but it gets a lot of other things right. Like you see the background scrolling here. Yeah, it's not amazing by even, you know, 1993 standards, but it is far more accurate to the arcade game and gives that nice arcade-like vibe that a lot of the other home versions didn't really give. But in some of the other liberties it has taken, though, I don't really mind. I mean, the game's colorful. It's got this sort of like Amiga-like art style to it, where everything has this really nice shading. I kind of like the twist on one of my all-time arcade favorites. If you guys know me, you'll know that I love Raiden, the arcade game. I still have my Raiden project for the PlayStation, and still play it frequently. It's a great game, and I can always come back to some Raiden. Alright, so this is our second boss. He's going to there. He finally switched it up. And he does two strings of fire. And he just kind of alternates back and forth. That second string is actually kind of tough because of how slow the bullets go. In the arcade version, the bullets went faster and they were spaced farther apart. So that second pattern was actually easier to get through in the arcade version than it is in this one. What I recommend doing is I played it wrong there, actually. The Jag version of Raiden, you can use some other tricks that you can't really use a lot in the arcade version. And one of those tricks is just pushing enemies off the screen. And what I'm going to do on this level is just hug the right side wall, which makes life easier. Ugh. One of the tricks is pushing enemies off screen, and when they're off screen, they can't shoot at you. Or in the case of that boss, you know, maybe part of him would have been on screen and part of him would have been off. But the part of them that's off screen won't be able to fire bullets at you, which is really interesting. So you can actually use that as a tactical advantage, which I highly recommend doing in this specific version of Raiden. And on levels like this, I usually recommend just hugging one of the sides of the walls. Pick the left, pick the right, whichever one you're more comfortable with, and just stay on that wall. Because the reason I say that is that enemies very rarely come out from the sides of the screen. And actually, pretty much they never do, at least down here towards the bottom of the screen. If they come out from the sides of the screen, they usually come out a little bit higher up on the screen, so you're still really not at risk. So let's get back to the right side of the screen. We're actually towards the end of the level already. And and as you notice, enemies are coming out from the sides now, but I'm pretty much taking them out instantly. So that's what's nice about hugging the side of the screen. Alright, so it looks like I'm maxed out on firepower now, and the way I could tell that is my firepower icons are giving me points now. So here's an example. The turrets on that boss that open up and fire, they can't really do too much to me because I've got them pushed off the side of the screen. So look at that. I could actually theoretically just camp here because it's still registering a hit at the top left portion of the screen. I actually kind of want to try that, see what happens. Oh. Let's just defeat these turrets though. Whoa, 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 that was too close for comfort. One strategy I do is I'll just use a bomb to take out these cannons that appear. But let's just go back here like this. Now, while Jag Raiden I think is a piece of cake compared to the arcade version, you still have to do some dodging with the laggy controls, mind you. So it takes some time to adjust to and get used to. I'm not going to go over there to the left. I don't, in case there's an enemy. And one of the reasons why you kind of just want to stay on one side of the screen is that sometimes you'll push the screen over and an enemy will be there, and the enemy will decide to fire at you. So, you know, it's all about playing it safe. And the way I look at it in Jag Raiden is the longer you survive, the more points you get. So, and if you're playing for score, really it's about survival. So, just see how many loops you can get through. You know, the more loops, the better. So, what time is it? It's 7:04. I got about an hour and a half before I have to dip out. So we'll see how far I can get. Either on 1 or 2 credits. I'm not sure if I'll continue or not. We'll see how my my progress goes. So yeah, completely maxed out though. What's great about being maxed out is if you're playing for score, again, the power-ups give you 5,000 points, which is a good chunk of points in this game, and that starts to snowball really fast. So that's another 5,000 right there I just picked up. And so this is really where you start building your score quickly, is when you're maxed out in firepower. Now, if I hadn't died on that first boss, I would have been maxed out a little bit faster, and I probably would have gotten an extra 30, 40, 50,000 points just from extra power-ups that I ended up having to pick up because I had died. And you lose your power-ups when you die in this game. So if you're playing for high score, you know, really not dying is pretty crucial as well, so you can really milk all those power-ups for what they're worth. I just realized I'm kind of like mumbling today. I'm like mumble. I just woke up actually, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do a let's play before I go to work, and it's gonna be Jag Raiden because I want to play some Raiden. So, we're playing some Jag Raiden. Alright, I need to follow my own advice and just hug one side of the screen. And I messed that up too because there's actually a fairy. Oh, there she is. They put her in a different spot in this one. In the arcade version, she's more towards the left side, inside one of these like bushes right here. So like I said, they did take some liberties with this game. In the first level, the fairy is actually in the same spot as she is in the arcade version, but in other levels, they might have changed her around a slight bit. And basically what the fairy does is, well, she gives you points for one. It's like, I want to say it's like 10,000 points or something, if I'm correct. And, but she also acts as sort of like a backup. So when you die, she flies back down. Oops, I didn't want that. She flies back down the screen after you die, and she'll drop a few power-ups. Usually, I want to say she drops typically 2 colored power-ups, maybe 3, and a missile power-up. And realistically, okay, what I should do is just pick this back up. The homing missile is just more useful in this version because your red shot is so powerful. Like, look at that. I just took that thing down in pretty much just a second. It was very, very fast. Now, one of the issues I do have with this game is it can be a little difficult sometimes to actually see the bullets. A lot of the bullets, like in this level, aren't that much different looking from the background we're playing on right now. So, oh shit, man. Damn it. I was using my bombs for a reason. That boss is really tough to get through in this specific version. In the arcade version, he's not that tough. The way his shots come down in the arcade version, I want to say you can even just stay right in the center and dodge his main wave shot. But in this version, it's really tough too. So some bosses have been modified in this version, and technically I think they're a little bit tougher in this one. And as a result, what I'll do is I'll just drop a bomb or two on them, because you'll keep getting bombs as you progress through the game, and it might be a little tough to recover here with no power-ups, but we'll see. I've got some bombs, so don't be afraid to use your bombs. Every life, every new life you have, you get restocked in your bombs, so you want to take advantage of them when you have no power-ups. And like I said, take advantage of pushing enemies off screen. So there's turrets to the left, just move to the right so you don't even have to worry about them. The goal right now is to get my power-ups back. So, and getting one red power-up helps a lot because it pretty much doubles the strength of your typical shot, your base level shot, and it's powerful. So we got a spread shot again. Let's hug one side of the screen and try to just stay there. Pretty sure there was a fairy in a spot kind of like there in the arcade version. Whoa, I had picked up the missiles, but it didn't register. That's interesting. Never really seen that happen before. Oh, I missed the power-up. The power-ups in this game, if you don't pick them up fast enough... Ooh, look at that. Full power... blah, blah, blah. I can't talk. Full power. Very nice, very nice. Get some bombs. I'm already maxed out. That's great. Sometimes you get lucky like that. One of the things you can do in this game to take down enemies a lot faster is do what they call in the shmup community point blanking, which is basically, say you got a spread shot like this, you get up close enough to the enemy where all your shots connect with the enemy. In a game like this, it actually registers all the shots that, so like this is point blanking, getting up close like that, and God, why did I do that? Son of a bitch, that was my fault. Totally my fault. So this is an example of a boss where you can just sort of sit to the side and he doesn't really do much to you, so you can kind of take a breather until these fuckers come out. Now it should just be this for the rest of the fight. God. One of the downsides to not practicing these games. Whoa, what was that? A bullet like went all the way to the right, but one went down. One of the problems to doing these Let's Plays without practicing is that I get to boss fights like this and I don't remember the actual firing patterns. And yeah. And basically what happens is I end up getting killed by bullets that are really easy to avoid. But I mean, that's why realistically I like to practice before I do these Let's Plays. But you know, there are some games I've played so much over the years I'm confident I can get through without even having to practice. But it definitely helps to practice. But I don't really always feel like practicing for Let's Plays. Like, I don't always want to play Raiden like 20 times in a week, you know, to prep for a Let's Play video that is going to get 200 views. So it's like, you know, the time... Whoa, the turret. Where'd you come from, buddy? The time commitment is just... I try not to spend as much time practicing these games unless I just genuinely want to play the game on my own time. You know, and if that's the case... then I'll practice the game. But generally, if I do actually practice a game, it usually comes in the form these days of just doing a quick warm-up. Like, I'll play for 5 or 10 minutes just right before doing the video just to get used to it. But this video, I didn't do that. I just jumped straight in, cold turkey. And it's been a couple years since I played this game, so... But yeah, it definitely helps to practice these. But I guess the point of that whole spiel is that I kind of don't really feel like practicing these days. When I first started doing like long plays and even my casual review series, I'd have to practice the games for a little bit just to get warmed up, because it's a lot harder to talk and play at the same time when you are not practiced. It's a lot harder to talk and play when you're not practiced. So. Alright, let's go back, get some red firepower. It's pretty much mandatory for this stage. The stage is really tough. Any level after this is really tough without the red firepower, if you ask me. So if you play throughout the whole game with just the blue power-up, then kudos to you. You are a much better person than I. Whoa! This is a level where you really want to hug the sides of the screen because of these dudes that just keep coming out from the sides. Of course, make exceptions to get your power-ups. Like there's another one to the right or left. Oh, it's a bomb. Good enough, though. Alright, back to the side of the screen. I need another red firepower. Red fire... Man, I gotta start doing videos right after I wake up. Oh, man, I don't even get great sleep last night. Not last night, today, because I worked overnight, so... I am quite tired right now. My brain's not functioning correctly. Need some firepower. Need some firepower. Need some firepower. Yeah, and you really want to watch out for these guys that come up from the left side of the screen. They come up from behind you, so you know, a rule of thumb in shoot 'em ups is to never hug one side of the screen. In this case, don't hug the bottom of the screen. And realistically, you want to, you know, go by that rule as you play most shoot 'em ups, particularly from the 16-bit generation, because back then enemies would come up more frequently from behind you, and they would just take you out. So I don't always hug the back side of the wall. I usually hug a few inches up. That way I'm still far back, which gives me more time to react to the guys coming down from the top. But when a guy surprises me from behind, I can avoid him much faster. So So we should be getting towards the end of the stage, and this is a boss where I pretty much have to use my bombs on him. And they actually made this boss harder than the arcade version because they throw asteroids out at you, or rocks out at you, which they don't do in the arcade version. Well, they space those guys really far apart. That's weird. Guys, see, just like that. This stupid fucking missiles, man. Part always gets me. Always gets me. So, look at that. We're back down to pretty much nothing for firepower. Which is kind of bad because this stage can be really, really tough without having a spread shot. But we're just going to have to try to play it smart and see what happens. So, I'm definitely not playing as well as I hoped I would be. But, again, like I said, I'm not practiced, so what can I expect, right? Yeah, I can't expect that I would play well, especially after just waking up and being tired and whatever. So, all right, 7:17. We haven't really spent that much time on this, so all right, these dudes. I usually just drop a bomb on these guys because they can be kind of a pain. Otherwise, their bullets come out relatively quickly. Well, I don't even know if they do on this loop, but so this is a level where you really want to stay at the bottom, I think. And you might not want to hug one of the sides of the screen in this one. You probably want to get close to one side of the screen, but don't actually hug it. Because these guys, they just keep coming out from the sides. And the question is, what side do I want to take? The side that has less of those turret guys. Haha. Who'd ever thought? Ah, damn. Yeah, and these dudes come from the bottom too. Ah, totally forgot about that. That's what got me on that last death. So let's drop a bomb there. Drop, oh shit. Another bomb. Oh, come on. Oh, man. Fuck. I just continued. And it's one of the things I don't like about this game is, God, they didn't pay attention to goddamn detail in this game. Is, if you're just mashing the button and you die on your last life, the continue screen won't even come up and you'll just automatically continue. So, you know, that's just total lack of attention to detail in the programming side of things. Is not enough testing went into it to, you know, iron out little flaws like that. So if you're trying to play this with, just say on one credit, you need to make sure you let go of the fire button after you die your last time. Otherwise, you're just going to automatically pop back in like I did. So we're going to go ahead and just play it out, which I'm really kind of shameful to say that I had to continue because... But it was totally my fault. I was unpracticed, and especially on this level, I totally forgot those enemies were coming out from behind me, which is kind of a big deal in this stage. Kind of a really big deal in this stage. So. And on this boss, you kind of just want to focus on the guys coming out from the bottom because they're the ones that are going to do damage to you. They're going to come out from the side and just sort of snipe you, and like so. Alright, this is the final stage, guys. We should have no problem at least beating the game, and I can show you a little bit of the second loop. But aside from that, I don't think, I just woke up. Damn it. Of course I don't think. I'm tired. I don't even know where I was going with that. I was going to say I don't think we're going to play on for too much longer, but who knows what my second loop can be like. Maybe we'll go through the game and a second time I'll play a little bit smarter. I'll be fully powered and not die. So we'll see what happens. Now, one of the perks about playing for score is that you do get extra lives and stuff like that. So, you know, that really helps your survival rate when you get a bunch of extra lives. I want to say I've had it maxed out before, where I've had, not maxed out, but I've had like 7 or 8 lives while playing. And, yeah, so, but I mean, when you're not maxed out in firepower, you're missing so many points that you could have been getting otherwise. So, and again, follow my own advice. I need to follow my own advice, is just hug one side of the screen. If I recall correctly, I liked doing it more on the left-hand side on this level. On some levels, I prefer either the left or right. On this one, I prefer the left. It just seems easier to me. There we go. Alright, one more red shot to be maxed out. So on this boss, you can also use the trick where you push him outside the screen. To great effect, actually, and really it's on the second form of his. Not really the second form, but he pieces together all these little, you know, shards of armor, and when you destroy them, he does his final type of shot, which can be really tough to avoid. It's that one right there, actually. But if you stay off to one side of the screen, it won't actually fire, and so you can just sort of just keep moving in and out like this. See, it just sort of went away midstream. So, and this is really what you want to do when you fight this guy. Otherwise, he's a... God damn it, man! God, I suck! This is why you just use your bombs. When you're powered down, just use your bombs. And this is gonna be... Look at this. It's pathetic. So just use a bomb. Move back over. Just wait. Wait till he goes back up. And use a bomb. Or... Whoa. Okay. Oh yeah, you have to break off this. Now he gets a little more aggressive, I think. I'm out of bombs though. Yeah, he does that. And if you push him off to one side of the screen, I was gonna say it's easier to avoid him. But if you notice, I just sit here, he doesn't do anything. So I could literally just sit here all day if I really wanted to. See? And that's pretty much the only way I'm going to damage him. God, this was a horrendous playthrough, man. I just kept dying and dying and dying. Oh, jeez. It's horrific. Just like that. This is my last life, so just bomb him. Wow, this is pathetic. This is probably one of my worst runs of Raiden ever. I mean, that's not true. Whenever you first play a game for the first time, you always do poorly at it, even if it's a semi-easy shmups, because you don't know what the bullet pattern is going to be like, you don't know where to position your ship, you're just trying to figure things out on the fly. And some people are better than that, or better at that than others. But in this game, I totally forgot, like, he was going to do that stream of bullets, and it was awful. Realistically, what I should have done is, instead of veering off to the right side of the screen to take off his armor, I should have just stayed on the left and just kept pummeling him, because I could have. You know, I was at the advantage on the left-hand side with everything already destroyed, and with max firepower, pretty much. So, now I might get an extra life from this. You get like 1,000,000 points for beating the final boss. And I don't think I heard the extra life sound, although my volume is kind of low, so it's a little tough to hear what's going on. I guess we'll find out once it puts me back out at the first level. So we're basically starting fresh again. No firepower, just like if you had started a brand new game. But I don't have any extra lives or anything. I don't... Oh, it gave me a couple extra lives. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I must have gotten... I might have gotten 2 extra lives from that 1,000,000 points it gave me, so... Let's see how far we can get now, starting fresh. And we'll basically just use the exact same formula. Red shot for the win. And I'm going to actually go ahead and switch to these missiles, just for now at least. I might even just stick with them because they're so powerful. Just try to play the game like that. I could try to use the blue shot realistically, but this is where the bullets start speeding up. Things start getting a little bit trickier, so I'm not really trying to experiment right now. Whoa, whoa, I don't even know why I was trying to do that. I guess I thought the tanks were going to shoot me, so... And that's where the ferry would have come out, but it looks like I didn't shoot that water enough times. The ferry is in... What? The ferry is always in hidden locations, and it's tougher to realize in this version that you're actually hitting those hidden locations because of how your bullets just disappear off screen. It's a little bit trickier in this one. Alright, screw it. I'm just going to use this and see what I can do here. So you notice the bullets are coming out a lot faster now than they were when we first got to this boss. But they're also spread out more interestingly, so... Alright, so now you can use that tactic I was using on the final boss on this boss as well, because he's on the other side of the screen. He's not firing at me because he's nowhere to be found. There he is. So you can use that as a tactic and sort of just push him off screen. Of course, it only works so much. He has to be on one side of the screen for it to really work. Got it. What a terrible run. Lots of cursing has ensued. I know some of you guys like me to do that, but I'm just like... just legitimately angry at myself. Because, like, I shouldn't have had such a bad run. I mean, I used both continues. Not both continues, but I used both credits. You use a credit when you start the game, and then on the 2 credit mode you get 1 more credit to continue, and that's what I did. Is I continued, and I totally royally screwed it up. It's probably a bad idea to be using the laser power up, but screw it, we'll just experiment for the rest of the game since I'm probably not going to beat it a second time. There's the mic list. It's a sort of a common character in the Raiden series. You see him in Raiden, Raiden 2, Raiden Fighters Jet, etc., Raiden Fighters 2. Which Raiden Fighters is an awesome sort of side series of Raiden shmups that I highly recommend checking out if you haven't. Fucking hell, man. If you haven't played it. Well, this isn't looking good. Not at all. I need an extra life. Man, that sucked. At least I beat the high score. Alright guys, well that's Raiden, or Raiden, however you'd like to pronounce it for the Atari Jaguar. In Japan it's technically pronounced Raiden. They're actually two separate words. Apparently it stands for thunder and lightning. And yeah, so I kind of like the same, you know, how it was originally intended to be said. But depending on where you come from, you might refer to it as Raiden. And, you know, it's... I like the Jaguar version of Raiden a lot. I like it more when I'm well practiced. Unlike in this playthrough. So I apologize for dying so much and using continues, and I thought I would do a lot better. Like I went into this video thinking about like the different patterns and stuff like that, and the different tactics I would use, and I thought, okay, that would be fine. Like I know to hug the right side of the screen or the left side of the screen, and I know to just max out my red firepower because it's so strong, and I know to use the homing missiles because it'll just get those popcorn enemies that come out from the side or something. But I didn't think about the harder parts in the game, like that second to last level where you've got the little turret guys on the pipes just coming up from the bottom of the screen. I totally forgot that was going to happen. One of them picked me off. And then just focusing while talking. As you guys know, it's always a lot harder to play these shmups while talking and playing at the same time because there's stuff coming at you from all sides of the screen. It's not like a Mega Man game where you've got 2 or 3 enemies on screen at once and that's it. And usually they come from the right. So it was a little bit tougher. But come here. Come here, controller. Okay. Let's put my initials in while I'm here. Freaking Raiden. Freaking Atari. Bringing freaking Raiden to the Jaguar. Freaking Imagitech design. Freaking bringing freaking Raiden to the freaking Jaguar. Still a fun version of Raiden though. If you have a Jaguar, I think it's one of the must-play games for the system. I mean, it's not the best home version of Raiden. That kind of goes to like the Raiden Project, but it's still a really solid version of Raiden. I think it's the best one on a home console aside from the Raiden Project. At the time, there wasn't really a thing. You know, Raiden. A perfect arcade port of Raiden wasn't even a thing back in the early 90s. It's just the console hardware wasn't strong enough to be able to do it up until, say, the PlayStation launched. The closest we got was the Jaguar version. Yeah, it's got some laggier controls. It's got this weird movement. It feels different from Raiden, the arcade version Raiden. But everything else is pretty solid. You know, the locations are very true to the arcade version. For the most part, except for like right here, there's only 2 of those houses that opened up, but that's weird. There's supposed to be more of them. I mean, it's got the sort of blocks coming in, covering everything up, and transitioning between different screens, which is always really cool. And you know, it's got background scrolling and whatnot that you didn't really have in some of the other 16-bit ports. The animation is solid for the most part. The detail on your ship is accurate to the arcade game, and it's just a really solid version of the game. And if you have a Jaguar, I highly recommend tracking down this version of Raiden and having fun with it. One of the other great things is, as you can see, it actually saves your high scores to the cartridge, which none of the other 16-bit versions did. Like, you have to write down your score on paper, which I'm much more of a fan of having that stuff built into the game, so you don't have to manage or micromanage your high scores. And it gives me, usually games that save my high scores, I'm more likely to play those than I am games that don't. Which is why, for instance, I played a Zoop version of Jaguar over any other, because it actually saves my high scores. It's one of the perks to having Jaguar cartridges. Most of them save to the cartridge. So, but yeah, that's Raiden for the Jaguar. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys soon. So, take it easy.